Thank you.
All right, we're going to talk about Bitclub. One of the most innovative things that's come along in a long time, and a way for people to get their hands on Bitcoin, and probably the best way for the majority of people to get their hands on Bitcoin. One of the nice things about the Bitclub is that it is a one-time payment situation. You can buy as much of it or as little of it as you want, but once you make a purchase, you're part owner of the club, and you really don't have to make any more purchase. You'll continue to mine Bitcoin for the rest of your life. And that's a very important concept. So let's get the old PowerPoint up here, and we'll run through it pretty quickly. We'll assume there are some people on here that really do not know much about the program, and so we'll kind of give a quick overview here. Listen,
Yes, there are two.
what we're doing here is we're trying to support a team. We want you to get back to the individual that referred you to this program. We're here available to answer questions, but if you call us and want to talk to us about different things, we're going to ask you the question about who referred you, and we prefer that you get back to that person. Um, we have our email down there. We have the Facebook group that you can join, and you can connect with us on Skype, and we'll put you into the Skype group that we have set up for everybody. And we have a WhatsApp group. We don't have that on here yet, and we probably should do that too. But it's open to everybody to come in and learn, and to bring your referrals, and let's build this whole thing, because this is one massive program and it's just getting started. I think it's only about 6% of the Bitclub here in the United States, and it's just wide open. People need something to protect them from the way the fiat currencies are going, especially people who are retiring or people that have any kind of debt or obligations going. They've got to have something that's going to last, and it's not going to be swayed around by the economy the way things are going. So we'll have a disclaimer here that we want to just make sure you understand what we're talking about. We make every effort to ensure that we accurately represent the products and services of Bitclub and the potential for economic gain. Earnings, or Bitcoin cash flow statements, made by the company or members are estimates of what you can possibly receive. There is no guarantee that you will make these levels of Bitcoin, and you accept the risk that the earnings and Bitcoin income possibilities differ by individual. They have to, because it depends on what you do. You can be passive here, or you can be very active. The examples are not to be interpreted as a guarantee, promise, representation, or assurance. We do not purport Bitclub as being a get-rich-quick scheme like most of the other Bitcoin opportunities that you hear about out there. These high numbers and these promises of big bucks and really quick only tell you that there's something wrong. This is a steady, proven product that's been around for about 3 years and is doing nothing but getting better every single day. So we urge you to look at it very closely. Still, until you're fully comfortable with it, only put in what you can afford to lose. I don't expect you're going to lose anything here. If you did, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have my funds in there, that's for sure. But, stick your toe in, test the waters, and when you're ready to jump in with both feet, we'll welcome you along with the rest of us guys with the life preservers, which Bitcoin is. Bitcoin mining and stuff is started back pretty much when the coins came out. Satoshi wrote his paper in 2008. They began the first transaction in 2009, and the rest is history. You can look it all up and read all about it. We're not going to do that here. But the nice thing about it is that it is a digital currency which is decentralized and not controlled by any government or institution. That's what we like about it. Those coins and other blockchain technologies that are being produced out there that are owned by companies, individuals, anything else is controlled by a person. That person can make it or break it, and you don't have anything to say about it. Bitcoin is safe, and it's available to everyone who wants to use it. So the nice thing about it is it's worldwide. You don't have to do any exchange programs. So we're not stuck into a paradigm where we have to use third parties, because we don't have any third party to go to. It's just us using our Bitcoin to transfer value. So who uses it? Well, these are companies that actually take Bitcoin right now. Hundreds and thousands of businesses are coming on at a dramatic rate. Japan just came on July 1st, and there were 260,000 merchants right off the bat that opened for business with Bitcoin. You have Australia about ready to declare it a legal currency down there, and they're coming on strong. Now, they didn't start that way. They were going to come on with an estimate of about $4 billion of capital that they wanted to put into the FinCEN, which would be the technology, and they expected that by 2020. But when Japan announced it was going to be a currency, it sure didn't take long for Australia to step up to the plate and begin doing the same doggone thing. India is since reversing what they've been doing over there, and they're picking it up. You have Russia doing the same thing. Not too long ago, just a few months ago, the Central Bank of Russia said that they would wanted to take a close look at it, and they decriminalized it because they didn't want Bitcoin over there initially, but now they're coming on board too. It's just moving fast, 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 fast. And the faster you get in, the better off you're going to be. So not only do those companies take it, these are other companies that are very much involved with it. We're all on the internet all the time. You know, it's not like it used to be. Back in the early 90s when this was all new and the internet was hit or miss, and we didn't even have the internet in the early 90s, we had what we called dial-up bulletin board kind of systems that were people would set up on individual computers and post a number, and you dial into that number and hook your phone up to a little modem cup right there on your computer or your modem itself and talk to people. But you didn't really have video or anything like that, and now you do. It's just like watching TV, only better because it's personal. And everybody's there all the time. Now, these guys here are banks. These guys actually are in the business of transmitting funds and money. But the thing is that in 2014, it cost $54 billion to transfer funds back and forth to different people around the world. If they had used Bitcoin at that time, it would only cost about $5 billion. That's a major difference. And that's why we're going to see these guys change radically. I don't think they're going to be around much more because all of these companies here, you can transfer that value anywhere in the world as many times as you want for pennies. Just nothing. And there are more and more companies coming on board all the time. And as these countries go to legal currency status, there are operations like a Bitclub has developed called CoinPay, which is going to make that process even easier and cheaper. And so expect the traditional way of dealing with banks and money transmittal to kind of disappear. It's going to change rapidly. And if you just look back across the last 20 years, I think you can come up with a lot of names and technologies that have disappeared right before your eyes. Sometimes you have to think about it for a minute. They've been gone. You didn't even notice they were gone because you just didn't use them anymore. Now, this chart here talks about how Bitcoin is set up, how the technology works. And what they talk about is every 10 minutes, new Bitcoins are released as the miners, the computers and the companies that process the transactions and create the new Bitcoins that are released. Now, this is not an inflationary type of a technology. There's a very limited number of Bitcoins out there for people. There are only going to be 21 million Bitcoins, and that's done intentionally because scarcity creates value. So what happened back when it first started in 2029, when the miners processed the connections and the charges, every time they created a block, they won 50 Bitcoin. That's what they got paid for doing it. That lasted for about 4 years. And then it halved in half. It turned in half. So 25 Bitcoin is the award now in 5, 6, and 7, and 8 years. And that's when the price of Bitcoin begins going up. So you can see in the gray line, I mean the kind of gold color line, the way the release of the Bitcoins is dropping dramatically over time with a pretty sharp angle, and it's getting steeper all the time. And as that happens, more and more people are adopting it. And that's the black line. More and more people are demanding the use of it, and that begins to increase the value of the coin. And so now, in July 2016, the award went to 12.5 Bitcoin. So what a lot of people don't know is that the miners actually get the award for creating the block every 10 minutes. They also get the fees, and that fees can be another 1 to 2 Bitcoin at a time. And so the progression is through the year 2140, the last coin will be mined. I'll be 192 years old when the last coin is mined. And it's going to come out slower and slower as more and more people around the world adopt it. It's going to get higher and higher and higher in value. $10,000 is going to be nothing. Now, this is a chart that shows you the speed and the rapidity with which transactions are occurring every day that the miners process. And so you can see back in the early years there was nothing. It was just totally flat. And then it began happening, right? And then all of a sudden it starts taking off and taking off. And look at the slope of that line. It's about a 45-degree line. But notice that it's beginning to go vertical because people are adopting it so fast. Now, that is going to create the value because people are demanding to use the technology because it's good for them. That's why they want to do it. Now, banks don't particularly care about that. We have a video on. Can we turn that? It's blocking the... Let me bring that down. Okay, so there's something called a difficulty of processing. One of the things that happens as the amount of Bitcoin released when they create a block gets smaller and smaller, the mathematical difficulty that the computers have to solve, the algorithms required to produce the Bitcoin and the create that block, get harder and harder and harder. And so you've got to have the biggest, baddest, fastest computers on the block in order to generate these coins quickly or win that award, because there are people competing with one another. There are miners around the world, all of them, and you can see their names. So I'll show you a chart that'll show you the majority of the ones that are actually mining Bitcoin and are profitable. But they're all competing for that award. And so Bitclub is no different. Now, what this chart is going to show you is a problem that's there. So what happens is that we've been going along where it's been nice and easy. People could have little Raspberry computers on a chip that would sit on their kitchen table and stuff, and they connect them together and they'd be mining Bitcoin, and everybody was kind of happy. But see, the problems began to get to the point where you needed more powerful computers. They just couldn't compete anymore. And so as time goes by and the math problems become a little bit tougher, then you can see that this line shows that the math gets more difficult, okay? That means that the equipment becomes more expensive and goes out of date. They expect the current technology to last maybe 3, 4, 5 years before you have to upgrade that computer. The current state of the art is nitrogen-cooled computers. You cannot do that in your kitchen table. You can't do it in your garage. You've got to have specialized equipment to do that. Now, it doesn't mean there aren't a lot of people out there using traditional kinds of machines to do that. There are. But what Bitclub has done has created a system where anybody can join the pool for a minimum amount of money, and every time they buy money or put money in the pool, they never have to put money in again. Well, what did they do that makes it different? Because what happens for most of the people out there, if you buy a mining contract, that mining contract terminates in a certain number of days, and you've got to renew the program. But are you going to get back in the program? Are you going to have to come up with more money to do that? Absolutely you are. And when you do, you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to have an increasing price of the Bitcoin. It's going to be a lot more expensive in order to get in. And it's also going to be a lot more difficult, which means the computers are a lot more expensive. So are you want to always be in a situation where you're going to have to constantly renew every so many years and have to come up with more and more money out of your pocket? I think not. And Bitclub didn't want that either. So what they did was they created a situation in which you put your money in the pool, and you have a 1,000-day contract on that contract. Now what happens is that some of the mining Bitcoin that they produce is used to operate the pool, and there's what's called a repurchase agreement. That repurchase agreement says that you can take up to 50% out of the pool, of your share out of the pool, and the other 50% they hold in reserve to buy you partial shares. Every time there's enough Bitcoin to buy you a 2.5% partial share, it automatically buys you that 2.5% share, and they begin mining themselves as well for 1,000 days. And pretty soon, it's actually you've got enough that it started a whole new share. So now you're mining with 2 shares. And that process continues. Now you're mining with 3 shares and 4 shares. So over time, you have an unlimited amount of mining power, but you never had to keep coming up with money out of your pocket. Once you put the money in and you get your contracts, they will continue to mine into perpetuity on an ever-increasing amount of Bitcoin. Now, even though the award's going down, that doesn't mean that the amount of Bitcoin you're going to be generating is going down. And that, there again, is where you need the biggest, baddest computers. And doing it this way, Bitclub mines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and everything is fully paid for. All the machines are paid for, your machines are paid for, the new machines coming in, you're always getting updated technology, you're never having to come out of your pocket again, but the system will continue to run on and on and on and on. That's a great deal. So there's some other ways to do this. Now, some people say that maybe you're better off buying metals, maybe you're better off doing stock trading or currency trading and stuff like that with the amount of money that it costs to get into a founder's position with Bitcoin, which is approximately, Bitclub, which is approximately $3,600. And that may be true for some people, but you know what? It's awful risky. You can lose all the money that you put in there, and there's no guarantee that you're going to have any gains. The way it's set up right now, you are always going to have a gain. You will never, never walk away from Bitclub in the future having gotten less than you put in the program. But there is another way to do this. If you take that same amount of money and maybe just buy some Bitcoin and you hold it. Well, if you buy a certain number of Bitcoins and you're sitting there holding them, 10 years from now, it's all you're going to have. You're still going to have the same amount of Bitcoin. You're not going to increase your Bitcoin. True, it's going to go up in value. It's going to have an appreciation value, but you're not getting any more. Well, the better way to do this is to do it the way Bitclub does and have you purchase a piece of the mine. So you're still going to accumulate the same amount of Bitcoin that you have there. You'll have those 10 Bitcoins down the road, but you'll have an ever increasing amount. The mine is always going to produce more than you actually could just pay for in today and just sit and hold. Okay, that's kind of the philosophy behind it. This is what it looks like. This is what the first mine when they first started pool number one. And it since then has grown and grown and grown into the current state of the art where you have to have nitrogen cooled computers. This is the S9 series of computers, so the rooms have drastically changed in the way they work. And they drop dramatically in cost. They become so much more efficient and saved an awful lot on electricity costs. And that's another advantage of Bitclub because they have their own power sources and they have pools set up all around the world in the areas where you can get electricity extremely cheap. So they're using highly efficient machines and they've got a lock on it. Their partners are Antpool, the largest miner in the world. And you may think that this is one company, but it's not. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of Chinese guys with 1, 2, 3, or 10 computers sitting in a spare room, all connected around the world, trying to look like a real big guy. Now, our philosophy is that we want to have the biggest, baddest, fastest machines, and we aren't going to use typical box computers in order to produce that kind of stuff. We need to get all of those awards or as many as possible. The way you do that is you have central location, and we have partnered with Antpool because they actually do create some of the hardware. We use that hardware and we pay a year in advance for that technology. We also partner with another company called Bitfury. They make the computer chips. And so those computer chips are geared to us. We buy all their technology. We pay a year in advance. We spend between $10 and $20 million a month on new computers. And we test everything we get before we ever put it in production. So when you get your system set up and your computers are actually running, you know that you're going to be mining it to the fullest extent possible. Now, these guys lease their computers a lot of times. They lease their power. All these guys, most of these are all little Chinese companies out there around the world because China came up with an idea that they wanted to monopolize Bitcoin. They thought if they could get a lock on Bitcoin, they could actually capitalize their cities. They could take one coin and put it in each city, and that would be enough to capitalize the whole city over time. Well, we have something to say about that because we want to be the largest miner and we have no limit. We can bring as many people on as we want because here's the concept. You have the mine which everybody shares. Everybody is a part owner in it. They own the equipment in it and it's operational. Everything is paid for by the mining. Now, what we want to do is grow. Well, how do you do that? Well, the way you grow is you bring more capital to the club, and you do that by referring people. And when you do that, you get compensated in Bitcoin for that. You get a commission for being a money finder, for bringing people to the company, and that's paid through a binary structure. So now you have a network component. You have everybody working together and everybody getting a little piece of it over time, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows until we have the largest mine in the world to compete with all of these guys. Now, Antpool has approximately what they call petahash. They call it, that's just, the petahash just is a way of determining how much computing power you have. That's a very, very massive amount of computer power. Right now, we're running about 300 petahash. Antpool is running about 500 petahash. By the end of the year, we will have more computing power than Antpool does, and no debt. And I'll show you all that, and I'll show you how we can prove all this stuff. That's another problem that I find with a lot of these internet companies that people do stuff on the internet is you can't prove anything. We can prove everything that's going on with this company. It's all transparent. You can look at it every single day. That's a very big advantage to this program. Now, this is a list of the investments, and I'm going to give you a live chart on this, but what we're really going to pay attention to is this number down here about the amount of money coming in, and I'll show you who's doing all the investing in this program. You'd think it would be the average guy out there, but it's not. You're going to be surprised who's doing it. Here's just a brief overview. Richard Branson is investing in it. Ashton Kutcher is investing in it. He needs to. Everybody says he's a good actor, but I think he's going to make a fortune in Bitcoin before he makes a fortune as an actor. Mike Tyson out there, you guys have heard of him before. He's very big into Bitcoin. These guys are named the Winklevoss twins. They're the ones trying to establish exchange-traded funds through the SEC, and I think they're succeeding. Well, one of their companies is working with the SEC to provide data right now for tracking coins around the world. And of course, here's the old Mr. Gates has been around. Everybody kind of knows that face. He also is investing very heavily in this kind of technology. And even Bernanke, the Federal Reserve Chairman there, says that it's a long-term promise, but coins, cryptocurrencies are going to provide a very more secure and more efficient payment system in the future. And if you listen to Lynette Zhang and her YouTube channel, you're going to get an eyeful and an earful about what they're really doing. It seems like they are not very accepting of the cryptocurrencies here in the United States or network companies that deal with it. But you know what? That's window dressing. They are very much involved in trying to capitalize and take it over. It's amazing what's going on behind the scenes. Here are some of the companies that invest in Bitcoin. They can't ignore it. They've got to do something with it. And it's the technology underlying Bitcoin that's actually going to make the big difference for everybody. It's called the blockchain technology. Now, the blockchain technology has to exist in order to have a Bitcoin, but the blockchain technology can do far more than just Bitcoin. It can do all kinds of other things. It's fundamentally going to change the way we exist. I think when looking at the possibilities here, that this is like the railroads and electricity and radio all being invented simultaneously and appearing on the scene. I think the magnitude of the change that's going to come about is going to be nothing short of stunning, but it's going to create a lot of displacement for people in terms of wages and jobs, because the computers are going to be running everything and they aren't going to need anybody. Same with the banks. They're not going to need to be banks on the corner. We're not going to have to deal with them. We don't have to right now. We can transmit funds all around the world right now using the cryptocurrencies, and we don't have to ask anybody. We don't have to do any permission. We don't have to go through the bank and take days or weeks to transfer money overseas. It just isn't going to exist anymore. And so one of the fundamental ways to protect yourself from the changes that are coming is to get involved in this technology and join the Bitclub and start mining Bitcoin and get prepared to deal with cryptocurrencies and become an owner in a company that's operating. So here's the way the ecosystem kind of looks. Here, the software companies are up here. You've got the mining companies down here, hardware companies here that generate the funding, custodial companies here where you can hold your coins, and then exchanges where you can trade these coins back and forth. It's kind of an interesting chart and it's worth taking a look at, but you'll get to know these companies as time goes by. And the basic thing for everybody on a daily basis is it's just completely easy to use cryptocurrencies. Now we're coming out with a technology called CoinPay, and it's a worldwide changing. It's going to be completely different than any technologies that's out there. And if you're part of the Bitclub, you are part of CoinPay. You actually can have ownership in that thing, and you'll receive compensation just because you're part of the club and the technology belongs to the club. And when you join, if you become a founder, and there's a certain level of, they actually only have one position. It's called a founder position, but they let you buy it in stages. It's a 500, 1,000, and a $2,000 pool. And so when you have all three pools, you're considered a founder, and you actually get shares in the CoinPay company that they've set up in order to help people use Bitcoin easily, anywhere, anyplace, anytime, right just by using their phone. The neat part about the technology is you may have some Ethereum, you may have some Bitcoin, and you want to buy something from a provider or a merchant, and they don't want that. They want pesos. They want USD. They want something else. The CoinPay system is unbelievably easy. You simply transmit what you have through the system, and the merchant is able to receive what he wants. The system automatically does the conversion. Any coin, any currency, anywhere, anytime, 24 hours a day, at a 1% fee, and it's instantaneous. Merchant gets paid immediately. Phenomenal technology, and as part of Bitclub, you have access to that technology. Okay, now I'm going to go through this very quickly here. This is the whole idea about value in Bitcoin. How does value get created in Bitcoin? And it's based on the capitalization value of Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin has a capitalization somewhere around between $40 and $50 billion. And right now, the coin is running right around $3,400 a coin. But as more and more money moves through the Bitcoin system, that money is actually in Bitcoin, and it increases the value of each one of those Bitcoins. Now, here's how that works. So let's say that Amazon, which makes $88.9 billion in 2014, and they pay a 3% transaction fee on all of that, so they paid about $2.6 billion a year in transaction fees. Well, Amazon nets $1 billion a year. Amazon could double their profits by doing all transactions in Bitcoin, and if they did, That amount of money, if the market capitalization was 89 billion instead of the 40 to 50 billion it is now, each Bitcoin would be worth $6,300 right off the bat. This is how you're going to see the appreciation value, because Amazon will be moving to the cryptocurrency world. They're doing it already. Another thing about money being transferred from country to country, from family to businesses all around the world, that was huge. $600 billion was transmitted in 2014. Western Union fees charged between 4 and 20%. I mean, we went down just to transfer a few $100, $1,500 cost $60, you know, down there using a MoneyGram. it's just crazy. So if that $600 billion was flowing through the Bitcoin hands right now, that would make each coin worth $42,800. Let me speed this up a little bit. We don't need to go through each one of these, because you can go company by company, you know, business model by business model. You add up all of that kind of money, and Tim Draper even says it's going to be 10 grand. Well, it's going to be more than that, because here's why. So if we had the amount of money that's flowing through Amazon capitalized into Bitcoin, if it's been into the gambling business, if it's been into the remittance business, transferring funds all around the world, add gas stations in there of about $34,000 and the value of the money they transmit, you add all that up, plus the 40 billion that's already in Bitcoin, that's going to be the value of Bitcoin in a very short order. You're talking thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of value for one coin. And so while you can get one coin now when you do mining, pretty soon in the future, you're not going to be able to buy one coin. You're going to get little pieces of coin. So the sooner you get started, the better. And the best way to do it is mining, because the United States government is passing laws right now that talks about issuing Bitcoin. In other words, they want you to have a limited number of Bitcoins, about 5, and they also want you to get them from a bank. They literally are saying that kind of crazy stuff. Well, that's just not going to happen, because we don't have to do that. We don't have to go to a bank to use Bitcoin. Anybody can use it. You don't have to ask anybody's permission. It's just there for you to use. And so you can transmit Bitcoin from your neighbor to another third party. Nobody's the wiser. So it's just not going to go exactly that way. That doesn't mean that they're not going to try to pass laws to make you do that. Now, this is an idea here. This chart talks about the different kinds of industries and what the value in those industries is. That all this money is going to be flowing into Bitcoin. Plus, all of the money that's in real estate, that's in manufacturing, all of these dollar value things are going to be translated into Bitcoin at some point. That's why Bitcoin is going to exceed $1 million a coin in the future. You see what I'm talking about? You can't lose. It's a technology whose time has come, that everybody is rushing to for all kinds of different reasons, and all of them good. And yet the governments want to control it, and people are tired of that. Look at the debt mess they have made by letting them control the money. We don't need to do that anymore. So it's good for us to do this, and it's going to be a high store of value. You've got to take a look at the collapsing of all the pension plans out there. You've got to do your research on this. If you're going to put money into something that's going to last and is going to be the future, this is where you've got to do it. But you've got to make it easy on yourself to be able to enter into that kind of a thing. Here's what the CoinPay panel is going to look like when somebody joins it for transmitting funds. That's coming out the first part of 2015. Now, the way you get involved with Bitclub is you just simply say you want to do it. There's a one-time membership fee, and then you can pick the pool that you want to join. You can start with as little as $500. This will mine Bitcoin for you forever. Then you can add $1,000 or $2,000, and you can bring in more and more people and get referral commissions paid in Bitcoin, which will help you buy additional pools. The founder position, once you've got all 3 of these pools, you're considered a founder. That's really the only position they have. And what happens is you get bonuses. Right now, if you become a founder, you get 2,000 shares of Bitcoin, plus you get 50 club coins. It's a coin that Bitclub has created that they give away to their members. They don't sell it. I think you can get it now on the exchanges because it's trading, but it's going to be extremely useful using the CoinPay system. It's going to actually add discount programs to purchases where merchants will be able to give you discounts if you use the club coin to do it, to kind of encourage you to get started using the CoinPay system. And they get increased business. You know, it's a competitive world out there. You got every edge you can. So Henry Ford was right. You know, if people really understood our money, banking and money system, they would have a revolution the following day. But people don't pay attention, and they don't know what's going on. And that's why I'm bringing up the idea of listening to Lynette Zhang on YouTube about what's going on behind the scenes and how the governments are planning on using this and moving it into the international money system. So if you have any questions or anything, you can get back to the person that invited you. You can contact us and ask questions. But if you send us a connect request, be aware that unless you tell us why you want to connect, we're not going to respond to a Skype thing that says, I want to connect, just to connect. You need to give us a little message about what you want to talk about. And we're always going to ask you the question about who referred you. We're not here to try to collect everybody to sign up with us, but we want them to sign up with our team. All right? And that means everybody needs to be respected for their effort in going out and there and promoting, and you need to sign up with the person that referred you to the program. It's not going to make any difference in how the Bitclub program works for you, but you're going to want to have the same kind of thing happen for you when you're out there referring somebody. You don't want somebody coming in and signing them up when you went out and actually referred them to the program. Okay? We have to keep that honor system going. Now, that's about it for this part of it. What I'm going to do now is walk you through a couple of pages that I've got set up to show you a few things. Now, this is a chart, a live chart, and this is on blockchain.info. I'm going to show you how we know that this is real and this is actually going on. This is a live chart of what they call the hash rate. The hashing is when the computers are processing everything, and that's why they call it a petahash. You know, you have 1,000, millions, quadrillions, trillions, all the way up. Petahash is way up there. Now, Bitclub Network is right here. The names of these companies here are the only companies in the Bitcoin universe that are mining and making a profit. They are mining. Bitclub came from 0 to the top 5 miners in 3 years. We're now putting things in process to be the #1 miner in the world with our system. The system has been proven, and I'll show you that because it's all public, it's all on the blockchain. So here's Bitfury, the partner. They've got about 4.2% of the hash rate today. Bitclub has 4.9%. They've been running about 5%. And as they continue to add more computing power, by the end of the year, we'll have the largest computing power in the world, exceeding ant pools. Okay, now, if you want to see depth, if you want to go into it, if somebody tells you they're mining Bitcoin out there and they're not here, they're kidding you. They're not really doing real mining. They may be mining something on their own, but it's not sufficient to really produce much Bitcoin. If you see an internet program out there, oh yeah, join us. We're going to give you, 10 Bitcoin, 20% a month for 20 years, and you're going to get all these little goodies, and you're just going to be the biggest, baddest guy on the block. Their name isn't here. Don't believe them. They're doing something different. Because if you're not making it and you're not making enough money to pay for the electricity costs and to have the modern computers that you need to compete in this area, their name would be here if it was really true. If they're not here, it's not somebody you want to do business with. So if you scroll down this page a little bit, it shows you each one of the names of the companies, and Bitclub has gotten the most recent blocks. They've gotten 29 blocks. Now you can click on this name, you click on it, and it takes you directly over to the most recent block that they got, and this is the hash code right here for that transaction. When you click on it, it takes us to all the details of that transaction, that block that was put in the blockchain right there. Okay, so they got the block reward. It's $42,000 because it's set up to show you what's going on in dollars here for a minute. I can change that to Bitcoin. That should be 12.5 Bitcoin. So if I click on this button, we're going to flip it to Bitcoin. And when that flips, there it is, the 12.5 Bitcoin. That's the current award that right now. And then up here, it should show you where's the fees. Transaction fees. Okay, so the actual amount that was paid to them is down here, 13.67 Bitcoin. All right, that exceeds 12.5 because of the small fees that were paid. But this address right here tells you a couple things. This address right here is the wallet. It's the actual bank account in blockchain that Bitclub has. You can look at it. It's all transparent. Now over here on the left-hand side, it says no inputs, newly generated coins. So this says unable to decode output address. Well, what that means is typically when you're dealing with a transaction where the Bitcoins already exist, they come in blocks and connected to other coins. And so they get this big lump of coins coming in, and then this transaction is pulled out of it. right there. See, for that amount of Bitcoin that's being transmitted. Because these are newly created coins. These are not issued. So we automatically defeat the new law stuff because we're not issuing coins, we're creating the coins. You see how that works? So a lot of what they're trying to pass we're not subject to that with these coins here. So let's go look in their actual bank account. And when we do that, we see, when this is all in Bitcoin, that over the last 20 months for this account right here, they have mined 55,578 Bitcoin. And of that, in reserve right now, in their bank, they hold 11,094. The difference has been distributed amongst everybody in the Bitclub because we all get a proportionate share according to the amount of shares that we own of the mining that's produced. Okay. So in order to make that grow again, we take that and we put that back in and buy more mining shares if we want, or we can spend that. Or we can refer other people and get a commission for finding more money to come into the pool. It's a tremendous pay plan. Okay? That's how you know that this is real and that these people are who they are, they say they are, because here's all the data of what they do on a regular basis. Now, if you want to look at it another way, this is a graph of the power of the computers running what they call petahash. See, this is 300 petahash right there. Now, before they were running somewhere between 100 and 200 petahash, but because the club is growing, because there's a lot of people joining the club and they're buying more and more computers, here's where they begin to jump. They jump to 300 petahash. Okay, and they see it's up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, pretty solid, and then they dropped way down. Well, why was that? Well, what happened is they had to rearrange the way they were doing the computers to bring in all the new computers that are coming in and being put back in. And you can see it was a short period of time and they jumped right back up to the 300 petahash line and are beginning to exceed it. All right? So you're going to be able to follow all of this on your own live as it happens. Another way to follow it is through a company called Blocktrail. And here you can see the actual awards in the mining of the blockchain. So within the last day, you get paid every day. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks already they got today. All right, they get between 5 and 10 blocks a day right now. When we get all that computer power up and running, we're going to be getting a lot more than 10 blocks a day. And that's the whole goal. There's 1,800 coins we can get every single day right now for the next 3 years. And we want to maximize and get as many of those coins as possible. And that's why we want to refer people to the program so that we get more and more computers. We get massive amounts of computer power that we refer to the pool. The pool begins to mine more and better than anybody else in the world. And we get bulk of the awards and those get distributed to us. Okay? It's that simple. Yesterday, what did they get? They only got 2 awards yesterday. The day before, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10. You know. So anyway, it's all over. But you can trace all of this stuff. You're going to see things out there that says Bitclub is a scam, Bitclub is a big pansy, but there's just no truth to it. This is a real operation. Now, what I want to show you here, this chart, this is important. I want you to understand that we're competing against major companies and investors. And that's what this chart is. It shows the companies, the exchanges, the amount of money that they're putting in, and these are the investors. These are the ones that are putting up the money, the different countries that they're from. And look, you know a lot of these people in here. Okay, here's Richard Branson right here. You see that? The billionaire. He's putting a lot of money into this thing. You got people from all around the world, companies that I don't know. Bank of America, everybody knows Bank of America, and Merrill Lynch, HSBC, SBI Group, another bank, another Banco Bradesco, Barclays, an insurance company, ING. All the major financial institutions are pouring millions and millions of dollars into this technology. JP Morgan down here, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo. I mean, it just goes on and on. And you take your time and look through this thing. It's just all over the place. This is just this year. This is 2017. Look at this. All these major companies. Thomson Reuters. The thing I want to show you, though, is the progression of what's going on down here at the bottom. Right here. Back in 2012, these companies, these style of companies, were just learning and getting acclimated. They only put out $2 million. In 1 year, it jumped from 2 million to 95 million. Then the following year, it went to 361 million, 490 million, 501 million, 349 this year. So in the last few years, they put in $1,799,000. of investment into the blockchain technology. You think this is a flash in the pan? You wonder about all the people walking around out there. I talk to them all the time. They don't know anything about Bitcoin. They've heard about the term Bitcoin, but man, the ignorance about this stuff is amazing. And you know what? That's the opportunity. And my favorite question when I'm talking to somebody, and I can always turn it that way, what are you doing about Bitcoin? Everybody needs money. Everybody is short of money. You find people working multiple jobs. You find people still losing jobs left and right. The pensions are failing. We heard of a case the other day where a woman had retired from a municipality. She was getting $49,000 a year in a pension. They just sent her a note and says, "Oh, we don't have the money to pay you anymore. You know what? We're going to drop your pension to $19,000 a year." Oh my God, here's a woman that, spent all of her time, believed everything that she was told. She supposedly had a pension. See, pensions are supposed to be guaranteed. There's not enough money in the pension guarantee fund to begin to even cover any of the pensions. And they're going down states by states, municipality by municipality. Just do the research. You're not hearing it on TV. At least most people aren't paying attention. What do you think it's going to do to the system of our economy out there? Everything seems fine right now, but it's not going to stay that way. How do you protect yourself? You get yourself involved with Bitcoin in an easy way by joining with us in Bitclub and begin mining Bitcoin. You'll be all right. You'll be able to protect your pension. It's a pension that will grow for the rest of your life. You will not outlive it. See that? It's a real deal. Okay, now when you first sign up and you buy the pools, you come in and you have a pool. Now, here's how that partial share technology that I talked about worked. When you're mining, you can take 50% out and you put 50% back into the pool in order to get partial shares. So here we go. This fellow here has 2 shares, and he's doing the repurchase system, but he's taking 50% out and he's putting 50% of the mining amount back in. So he started with his 2 shares. He's got 959 days left on that contract. Well, here it just bought him a partial share. So now that contract has 980 days left on it. And then on July 11th, which is just a couple of weeks later, I bought another partial share. You see, what happens is, in each one of these pools, as long as you are covering your cost and you're putting a little bit more back in to buy more power, you will never, ever, ever run out of mining a Bitcoin. It will continue for the rest of your life. Because you see, all these little partial shares all each have a 1,000-day contract, and they begin to layer on top of one another. You'll never run out of Bitcoin, and you can get as much of this as you want. It's a phenomenal deal. See, this is very analogous to the kind of stuff that I used to do in the insurance business, because we would talk about annuities and pension programs, and we'd buy guarantee annuity. So guaranteed annuity could be deferred or immediate. Immediate annuity, because they give us the money, we got to begin sending them a payment for whatever time period they wanted it. It could be for a day, a month, a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20, or life, okay? A deferred annuity is where you're putting money into a program, accumulating that money, and that's what this is analogous to right now. And you can also generate a cash flow by all the referrals that you get, by bringing people into the club and helping them understand that this is a way to protect their financial future. Because once they got a Bitcoin in their hand, it's theirs. It's going to be worth more tomorrow than it is today. So why wouldn't you do this? I mean, why would you continue to put money into things that don't mean anything? Right now, the money is so devalued that people can't hang on to it. They have to buy things that at least they're going to have some value. They're going to last longer than the value of that dollar. The dollar's going down. That's clearly been stated by the Fed. You've got to do something to protect yourself. Now, when we talk about cash flow and compensation, I want to show you there's many different kinds of compensations associated with this plan. It's a very rich plan. I'm not taking the time to go into it tonight. We've got some recordings on our YouTube channel that you can look at where we've talked about the compensation plan. But I just want to show you what it looks like. There's about 15 different ways that you get compensated. And here's the 3 basic ones that start right off the bat. So we have what's called a cycle bonus, because the commissions are paid on a binary. And every time somebody joins a pool, there's a certain number of credits that are paid into the program, each on the binary. So once you have 15 credits on both legs, you get a $200 payment in Bitcoin. And so this is what it's showing. There's another thing called a matching bonus. That's just a small $10 payment, but it's paid 8 levels up the line. So you can see that this stuff comes in every single day. You know, that's 210, 400, 200, 200, 400, 10, 240, 1,000, 10, 800. See? And we're just getting started. You can do the same thing. Now, every time you refer somebody to the program and they do come and begin mining, you will also receive an override on their mining production as well. Okay? So the more people you refer, the more Bitcoin you're going to be able to harvest for yourself, because it all goes back into building the pool. Now, this is another one. This is called what they call a level up commission. This is based on a team value. You get certain commission levels that are paid. It's kind of a coded bonus. If they're on team 1, team 2, team 3, there's 4 teams. The commission levels are different based upon the number of people that you brought into the program. And here you can see what this looks like. It's $15, $100, $100, $2, $2, $2, 80 cents. Listen, this all adds up. This is very much like the renewal system in any kind of a network marketing program, or even in the insurance business. You know, the more policies and stuff that you bring on and these little tiny renewals that you get, man, they add up over time. And this is all paid in Bitcoin. They're giving you a dollar value. They're just showing you what the dollar value is, because here's the Bitcoin value. It's just easier to convert it to dollars in your mind. So you can kind of understand what's happening. Now, this is something else that happens. They've got it set up so that no matter where you are, everybody that you've brought into the system, you're always going to get some compensation for down the road, and you'll always get some compensation for everybody they bring in too. These are called infinity commissions, and they are paid into perpetuity. And they're not a lot amount of money here. They're just small amounts of money, but you get pages and pages and pages of these things, and you know, it begins to add up. It's just like collecting a penny a day, right? You get a penny a day, you get another penny tomorrow, you get 2 or 3 pennies more tomorrow, and after that, the next thing you know, you're adding up to some real money, right? Okay, I've gone kind of long, pretty much taking the hour, and at this point, why don't we just open it up and see if there are any questions or anything we can talk about? And if none, we'll shut that one down and log another one back into the videos.
Okay, yes, I love those infinity. They all compound interest.
It's just Bitcoin compounding on top of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. All right, I see we have Mariah is with us tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Great.
how are you, Mariah? See if I can unmute her here.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Mariah, I thought you were leaving. I thought you were taking off down for points yonder.
Yes, I'm getting ready to go to New Zealand, and I haven't been on many of the calls because I'm running around like a chicken with a head cut off. But I wanted to mention here that actually I thought James might be on the call tonight because he's now back from Tokyo.
Oh, he is. Okay.
But he's tired, and Shauna still hasn't got a voice. But what James shared
last night, but yeah, she couldn't say a whole lot because of her voice. I guess they had hooked it up over there in Tokyo, huh?
Yeah. But what James shared today with me is how there is so much enthusiasm with Bitclub Network in Japan now. You know, the culture is different there than it is here. And over there, they are hungry for business opportunities. So something like Bitclub Network is drawing hundreds of people to the meetings that they are hosting in Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, and other cities in Japan, where they're literally turning people away. And people who attend these meetings pay $20 to go to attend these meetings, and they even run a waiting list. And so Russ Medlin has to go back and do another Tokyo meeting this week because they turned away so many people 4 or 5 days ago.
Amazing.
They also have this beautiful pamphlet that was professionally made. I looked at it, and it's excellent. It outlines everything, including the compensation plan. Unfortunately, it's all in Japanese.
Yes, and Andy said he was going to. He asked me if we wanted to put it in English, and I said, yes, please. Last week we needed it, and here it is down the road. We don't have it yet.
Yes, well, that I believe is the PowerPoint, but what I saw today was this brochure that was professionally done. I don't know who did it, but maybe one of the leaders there put it all together, and they sell them for $5. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but terrific turnouts. People see and understand what Bitclub is all about. Now, here is what they have an advantage on us. Number one, the Japanese government is friendly to Bitcoin, where
Yes.
here in the US, they're not. So we're going to be encountering many skeptical people as we share BitClub network with them. Okay, so that's okay. You move on, but you go back to them in 6 months' time and say, okay, here's what's going on. Here's what you missed out on. So we are going to just have to persevere and share this with as many people as we can, even though it's very, very new to people here, unlike Japan, that is just on fire with BitClub Network. And I was surprised to hear that it is even more so on fire. BitClub Network is more so on fire in Korea, more than
Yes.
Japan, more than
Yeah,
Japan.
isn't that amazing?
It is. So we're just humble beginnings, taking our little baby steps as we share the club network with friends, colleagues, associates, families. And John,
Yeah.
fantastic webinar you're doing. Great job. Thank you
Well,
so
thank you
much.
very
You
much.
keep
Thank you.
happy.
Well,
And
we're
now
in
I'll
the
go to lunch.
education business. That's what we're in. That's what we're doing right now. This process
Right.
now is building the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah. So I might be able to get on another call before I leave, but anyway, thanks for having me on the call, and hopefully, instead of listening to me, you can hear James or Shauna down the road.
That'd be
Okay?
great. That'd be
Oh,
great.
we love listening to you. And remember, we had Greg the other day. He could get our meeting from all the way on top of Camelback Mountain. So if you have your phone, you can tune in from anywhere. Love
Okay.
to hear
Oh,
from
one
you.
more thing. One more thing that James mentioned today, and that is CoinPay will be launched at the beginning of next year. Um, It's already set up. It's like having a building that's constructed, all ready to go, but they haven't put the carpeting in yet.
Okay.
That's how Les explained it, but definitely it will be launched early next year.
Great.
And
Okay?
that is going to be so exciting. So
Yes.
exciting. We can't wait for that. All right. And like you
Okay.
said, Americans are taking off slow. It's all about education.
Yes.
So all we have to do is keep talking about Bitcoin, and they're waking up here.
Yeah.
All of Europe, so many of them, so many countries are already adopting this. A lot of people over there are paying all of their bills, everything in
Yes.
Bitcoin. So we just have
Yes.
to wake up, America.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Take
Mariah.
care.
Okay, safe travels. It's good to hear from you.
Thank
All right,
you.
on that, I want to announce this little exciting note that was in the back office. I don't know if you all saw it, but it says BitClub mines 3,000 block. We hit
Yes.
a big milestone today by surpassing 3,000 total blocks mined. When we
Yes.
first started mining back in 2014, the block reward was 25 per block, and we learned a lot as we set out to create a massive mining operation. About 3 years later, we did it. Overall, the combined total of Bitcoin mined and paid out to BitClub members is over 55,370 Bitcoin, which today is worth about 190 million USD. It's truly incredible
Wonderful.
to watch this opportunity to change people's lives, and the stories we get from you is what keeps us going strong. We, let's see, we believe this company is just now hitting its stride, and over the course of the next 6, 12, 18 months, we are going to witness a global explosion in the cryptocurrency space. Yes, we are. Here's to the next 3,000 blocks. All right, how cool is that? And that was with their slow computers. So just
Ah,
imagine what we're going to be doing now.
right.
It'll be taking half the time. Uh,
Right.
or
Yep.
less.
Yep.
So we're just really on the verge of a massive explosion here, and it's
Absolutely.
exciting. So excited to be a part of this.
Yes, I am too. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much. I gotta
Thanks.
go.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, ta-ta. Take care. Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Okay,
All
bye.
right. Take care.
Bye bye.
Does anybody have any comments or questions? Don't be shy. This is where we talk about Bitclub. Go for it.
Okay,
They're
well,
also
with that,
quiet.
we'll call
He
it a
wants to put them to sleep.
day.
They're either stunned or you put them to sleep.
Yeah,
Again.
probably a little of both.
Right.
Oh, this is Mike. I just noticed I'm muted.
Oh,
Oh.
Hey, just real quick, this is a nice presentation. The middle part I had not heard before. I really like that. Do you have this recorded, or do you have this
oh yeah.
presentation down? Okay,
Well,
good.
we have this one and several others. They're always a little bit different, Mike. I don't use a script or anything. So.
Yeah, I know. And some middle part, I know a good bit, but some of the middle part I did not know, and that was really terrific.
Right.
Because I had a luncheon today with some guy, and he needed to talk to his wife, particularly how this is not a pyramid or a scam. And I said, well, education will help that, and I think what you had there would be very valuable towards that.
Oh, great. Yeah.
If
Nope.
you'll get
There's
you a
so many of
copy
those
as soon
scams
as it
out there
downloads.
that people are really jaded.
Yes, and rightfully so. But
Oh,
it
sure.
also, but you got to know that it's real, and it's like dollars and cents. So you're going to outlaw dollars because bad people use it. No.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Well, and what I like about this is it is so transparent. It's completely verifiable.
yes,
Where the others aren't. And then you'll see somebody put something up there, oh, such and such is a scam. Well, if you scroll down and read the bottom fine print, they're always trying to drag you over into their program, that's better and guarantees all these HYIPs and ROIs per day. And no, this is real. This is solid, verifiable. Like I just said, we just hit our 3,000th block, which you can go verify on the blockchain as well. So I'm loving this.
I
Well,
don't blame you.
the thing
What
I
we
like
were
is that
looking for, solidarity.
it's something we can dig our teeth into for the rest of our life. We don't have
Yes.
to go into the sunset poor.
You're right, and you can feel
No,
good about it.
This
no
is not going to
hopping
go away.
from programs to programs like so many
Yeah.
people do.
We're actually going to be able to have fun and spend some of it.
Yeah.
I had not seen that blockchain part where you can show the value of the award, because people told me, well, they're only making 12 and a half Bitcoin now. I said, well, go back to when they're making 50. They're actually bringing in about $5,000 to $10,000. Whereas you showed right now at only 12 and a half Bitcoin, they're bringing in 42 grand.
Yeah.
So that's actually a jump. Plus they're increasing their wins. So that is quite valuable.
Oh yeah, they fully intend to be getting the majority of these blocks. See, these other companies cannot match us in the capital growth. They have higher expenses. They don't own their own equipment. And we have a lock on all the technology because we're partners. We're partners with AmpPool for the Bitmain computers. We're partners with Bitferry. They prepay in advance, a year in advance for the technology. So we get it first.
So that was a good question. That's right. On the pie chart in the upper right of AntPool, they had 25%. Now they have 19%. Are we getting part of that as a participation, or are we just getting our? Okay.
We're only getting ours. But
okay.
Again, when you understand what that number means, it is older technology, but you've got millions of Chinese people, in their spare rooms, in their bedrooms, in their garages. They're all trying to run these little old style computers as one big mining program, but they're not going to be able to keep up with the technology, which is the other. I can actually show you that. Let me just do that.
I've seen the pictures of the new computers, the nitrogen ones.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they buy any?
Well, how's the little guy in China going to do it?
Well, little guy's not, but the government's been helping a lot of groups over there already.
Well, they're very expensive. If you were going to start mining yourself and you wanted to get to that level, you'd probably have to walk in with a minimum of $10 million just to even begin to start.
Okay. So when you were showing the investors, Bernanke, Ashton, Branson, were they investing in Bitcoin and mining, or are they investing in the Bitcoin Club?
They're investing in the technology, and they're doing venture capital stuff with other companies that are going to be involved in the blockchain technology and the coins.
Okay, because that's what I thought. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was it.
Yeah, well, they're investing in the industry as a whole. So
yeah, okay.
We're just beginning to see now. If they wanted to come into the club, they could. But that's not what they're trying to do. This is where the banks are going too. The banks are all going, and the accounting firms. Accounting firms were the first ones to jump on the blockchain technology, and they're all coming out with accounting systems that are trying to simplify the accounting processes for companies.
See, that's something new to me too. I mean, I know about banks jumping. I didn't know that many banks were jumping in. That's incredible.
The first major company, The jump was Ernst and Ernst in Switzerland.
Yeah, I saw that. I've written about that before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
So
from there, it's just see, the thing I think is really funny is this: you had Australia kind of tippy-toeing in and talking about they're going to do all this investment. Well, Switzerland just went ahead and said, okay, we're open up now. We all want all FinCEN companies coming over here. Then all of a sudden, all the universities are taking the Bitcoin for payments. Their towns are taking Bitcoin for payments for the utilities and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You have all these countries now begin to try to one up the other. So Japan comes out and says it's legal currency. So Australia turns around now, instead of a 2020 plan, they now have just said, okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do. Everybody is trying to vie to get in this bandwagon right now. And the thing that we've got going for us is we have the best way to mine Bitcoin. Now, the other thing I like about it is it's in the same philosophy as Bitcoin. It's a decentralized program where we all own the company. There is no one owner. There is no one location. There's no way for any institution to come in and just say, we're going to shut you down. Who are they going to shut down?
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Wait a minute. Okay, I don't quite grasp that. I mean, it sounds like it's the Bitcoin of Bitcoin mining, which is good. But they're in Iceland, aren't they?
There's some servers are in Iceland. Yeah.
That's one of 3 facilities.
Well, it means there's 3 facilities, so I would think it'd still be.
Yeah.
Well, who are they going to send an order to?
Whoever owns the building. So there's
no owner. Well, they can't shut the building down because all the major financial institutions around the world are in that same facility.
What was it? It was a huge, some sort of army base, or?
It used to be an old army base up there, but what's happened is it's been turned into this highly secure server system, and the majority of the financial institutions around the world have their server base right there in that same location.
Oh, that's significant. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very good. Okay.
And if you want to go to the facility, you'll be able to go to the facility. They take the guys that are actually doing the business. Now, the other thing is that as you come up in the ranks of doing the Bitclub and you get into the mega monsters and the monster levels, you're actually becoming kind of a part of the board. You're involved in making decisions on how the club is going to go.
I see. Okay. Very good. I did see a video where they had a bus tour somewhere in Iceland.
That looked like so much fun.
No, we didn't go. No, this was prior to our time.
Okay.
Andy Nakashima went.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's another thing. Is Andy one of the experts? Because with Japan, we've been fearing, Roger and I, that Japan's going to take over the world again because they're so forward thinking about this.
Andy is in the mega monster category already.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows about what I'm talking about, though, is Japan being so far ahead with their merchants and everything.
Well, that's where he's at. That's where most of his team is. He now wants to start building in the United States.
Okay. Okay.
And he is opening up. He's got an office, and he is going to start doing live meetings there, in California, and so is Joe Abel. He's got an office down in where?
That's a guy in Oxnard.
He's in Oxnard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can start doing meetings out here in the Inland Empire. In Palm Springs and the whole area around here.
Yeah, we're going to start. I mean, the U.S. is wide open for us, so we're going to hit the ground running. Get all our leading founders back and start cranking it out.
And Mike, we could put up meetings anywhere in Orange County. We can do them in San Diego County. I mean, anywhere from Santa Barbara down is kind of our territory.
Well, I've been doing general ones in Pasadena and Orange County already, in Long Beach. But this is nice to have some firepower behind it. Well, I like that middle of the presentation. I do a general Bitcoin presentation.
I'm thinking
this or that.
Well, that's what the website's got. The website has the general presentation of Bitcoin in the videos.
Is that what this is, or is this yours?
This?
Yeah.
Well, no,
this presentation.
Is mine. This is just mine.
Oh, this is okay, because this had some unique stuff, and I thought it was pretty powerful.
Yeah, I'm trying to find more stuff to stick into it too. Try not to make it so long. But my point is that we have one of the largest financial centers in the world here in Southern California. We can go to all these companies. We can go to accounting firms. We can go to insurance firms. We can do all kinds of things and try to educate these guys on all the things they could be doing to participate in these programs.
Okay.
So It's
Cool.
our oyster, man. I mean, it's just a matter of letting everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, I quite agree with that. And we're gonna have I'm gonna have a runaway group. You're gonna have a runaway group, and we need to match up with that. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's we should be doing Super Saturdays and stuff like that all over Southern California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we did. Okay. Alrighty. I'm off to dinner, but I'm glad I
Sounds
got to hear
great.
you guys to catch you because I had not heard that all the way through.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
And that was just a terrific part in the middle of there. So I will buzz you guys. I'm finally free. We finished with Mike Trout's birthday party this week and all. So I've got about a half a week that I can get on here and figure out how to get positioned and what have you go. So
Well, I'm just getting started, man. I mean, this
okay.
presentation can get better and better. I mean, it will over time.
Okay, well, whoever's listening, I've done meetings and I've heard many. This was a terrific one. You got the gist of it, everybody, and some power in here. This was
Thank you, Mike.
Fantastic. And I like the way you present. You did very well.
Thank you,
Kathy. Anyway, terrific to you guys, and I'll chat with you soon.
Okay.
Bon appetit.
Okay, bon appetit.
All right.
Speak with you soon. Okay.
We're a quarter after, so let's
yeah. Okay, we will be what's today? Thursday. So tomorrow, Friday morning, we'll be back at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And go out and invite some guests, bring them back here, and we'll let John wow them again.
Okay.
Or put them to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, thanks for coming, guys and gals. We'll see you in the morning. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.